Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Lots of chart analysts with a very high accuracy rating think that this market cycle is going to dwarf the 2021 market cycle. And I am here for it. And so if they're right, I'll just say this. If they're right, then what we've seen from XRP thus far is nothing more than a little tiny tease. That's it. In fact, one very popular chart analyst is predicting today that XRP is targeting $11. And I will not at all be surprised if the chart analysts who are predicting double-digit price action for XRP this market cycle, I will not be the least bit surprised if they end up being proven correct. You know, the idea of XRP going to $20 to $30, that's not a crazy range. It's not a crazy thought. I admit I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know where price is going, admittedly. But I know, based on historic precedent, that is not unreasonable speculation. That is safely within the confines of reality, and it's exciting to know that. And that we're on the precipice of something completely absurd if history is to rhyme with itself. And it has thus far. To think that it's just going to stop here is silly nonsense. I firmly believe that it's going to. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I am just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And this video, this latest Moon Lambeau hot jam, chock full of XRP perspectives from, I think, 10 or 11 different XRP chart analysts. You're going to love what I got for you here. And now as I record this, in case anybody's curious, I will note it is 2:17 p.m. Central Time, Sunday, August 10th, 2025. XRP is $3.20, so down a little bit, but nothing crazy here. Don't worry about that. Bitcoin's actually up, which you do want to see. This son of a bitch, it's going to break out eventually. It's going to go parabolic. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen sooner rather than later. That's a virtual certainty. In fact, I don't think I follow... honestly, I can't think of it. I don't think I follow any chart analyst that says that's not going to happen. I think literally zero. And I've been very particular in following the chart analysts that I follow. I find that none of them are perfect. They'll get stuff wrong. Everybody will. But I think that their track records are excellent. And so when you have a group of analysts like that and they all say the same or similar thing, they're almost always right. I would be shocked if we don't have a parabolic blow off top for Bitcoin this cycle, and sooner rather than later. So you got Bitcoin $118,539, Ethereum over $4,200, and I will mention within the last 24 hours it was over $4,300. How's that for a dead coin? Remember earlier this year it was a dead coin, it was at $1,400, and I told you that was stupid because it was stupid, and here we are, $4,300. Now the reason I'm taking time to highlight this is because historically Ethereum does kick off alt season. That's why this is exciting. I don't care how high it goes. Like this is not like one of my largest positions personally, but I have been holding it since 2017. But I'm excited because I know what it means for the rest of my coins like XRP. This thing's going to go absolutely bananas. And so here's a post from the Nijin Tropic account, which is run by the co-founders of Glassnode, the on-chain analytics firm. And they simply wrote, "The calm before the storm." And we are in another moment where, yeah, it does feel like that, doesn't it? We're mostly sideways price action here. Calm before the storm, yeah, I think that's aptly put. I think we'll look back and be like, yeah, that was that was right before things went completely ham. Here's a post from chart analyst Tech Dev. He shared this with his 543,000 followers. This is a total 2/BTC chart. So total 2, of course, is the entire crypto asset. Well, technically it's the top 125 coins, excluding Bitcoin. And so it's that denominated in Bitcoin, which is just means it's total 2 priced against Bitcoin. And take a look at this, because it's the altcoins against Bitcoin. Look at what the chart shows here. He says, you need to consider the possibility that altcoin dominance is breaking out from a 7-year correction, that the 2021 leg wasn't even impulsive, that this 7-year relative strength index falling wedge will send altcoin strength on its first impulsive move in 8 years. Okay, if he's right about that, then none of us are thinking big enough. And I won't say it's there are some analysts that I follow that are in this camp where they think that what's happening right now, it looks way more like 2017 than 2021. And I've been highlighting it, from time to time in recent weeks and months. And they think that what's unfolding right now is going to look way more like 2017 than 2021. And that would be a big deal, because if you were around, or even if you weren't, if you're just aware, 2017 was way more crazy than 2021. 2021, don't get me wrong, 2021 was fun, But if he's right in his suspicion here, no one is sufficiently prepared. This would, okay, so I would say this would be the area where Bitcoin, and I'm not predicting this, I don't know if this is going to come to pass, but this would be the area where the predictions for Bitcoin going over $200,000 and XRP going over $30, that's where that could start to meet reality, if that actually happens here. And again, it's not most of the analysts that I follow that think this, but I follow a lot of reputable analysts who actually do subscribe to this concept. So we'll find out. Either way, I still think we're going to be very happy with what we see happens by the end of the cycle. But if this is true, oh man, no one, not me, not you, none of us are sufficiently prepared for what's going to happen if this is true. So we'll see. And again, it's not a majority of the analysts I follow that think this, so I'm not going to get my hopes up, but it could happen. I acknowledge that. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. This is a Bitcoin price chart, and he says, how delightful. And you've got the 2 cycles ago on the left, and then you got modern times going back to last cycle on the right here. And he says, how delightful. It's a thing of beauty. Look at it. It's Ethereum on the right, by the way. He says, look at it go. Ethereum has broken its triangle upside and is exploding in similar fashion to Bitcoin in 2017. Keep shorting, please, bears. So that's interesting, isn't it? There's an analyst that's saying, actually, what's unfolding right now with Ethereum doesn't look like last cycle. It looks like 2 cycles ago. And look, there have been XRP chart analysts who have been insisting that what's happening with XRP right now looks way more like 2017 than last cycle. Though with XRP, I'm a little bit less impressed with those statements because we all know, of course it's going to look more like that because XRP was artificially suppressed last cycle. So yes, of course, it's looking more like 2017, but there is some confluence there in terms of the perspectives from these analysts, just saying. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. He says, hashtag altcoins. I see a lot of cycle top callers, although Ethereum has not even reached its 2021 high yet. Up only season for alts hasn't even started yet. Corrections are part of the cycle, but dips are for buying, in my opinion. Higher, much higher. Well, I certainly subscribe to that. Here's a post from Mikey Bull Crypto. This is an Ethereum price chart here. And he said, MACD bullish cross on Ethereum. And MACD, as you well know, is the freshest hip-hop artist on the scene today, but it's also a momentum indicator. And look at these little green candles right here poking up. And you can see what he's talking about here. He's talking about the bullish cross right there. Yeah, that would be yet another thing indicating we're about at the end of the cycle time-wise. Yes, absolutely. And it makes sense. History rhymes with itself. There's too much confluence for this to not be the case. And nobody knows for sure. I'm not pretending to. I'm speaking in terms of probability. It is almost, I would say this. I will be so bold as to state, it is a virtual certainty that is the case. We are almost at the end of this thing, and it's going to just rip faces off when it happens. And XRP specifically. Here's another one from Mikey Bull Crypto. XRP breakout and currently on retest. And that was at $3.25. So we are a little bit below that. I think you'll look back and then probably just say it's a deviation. It's not going to matter. We're still in the realm of where we want to be. But pullbacks like this are normal. I don't follow one single analyst who's charting XRP and says, nope, that was it for the cycle. It's over. Those people that say that stuff, there's not many of them because most of them don't want to be embarrassed and they know better. Their posts, they're going to age like fine milk. Okay, that's what's going to happen. I think a lot of those idiots are going to be just furiously deleting the stupid stuff that they're typing on the internet with their stupid little chubby fingers. You know what I'm saying? Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard yet again. Here's a new one. On the left, you got here market cap Bitcoin dominance and excuse me, and also same chart on the right, just different time period. So on the right, that's where we are now, and then you got it's like the end of 2017 through 2021 on your left there, and he says. The collapse has begun. And this is Bitcoin dominance. He says, now that's what I call a beautiful breakout. In similar fashion to 2021, Bitcoin dominance has broken its bear flag as called. The collapse has begun. Higher to go for Ethereum and alt. And folks, that is exactly what you want to see. You want to see Bitcoin dominance cratering to the downside. And yesterday, by the way, it was in 59 point something percent. It's a hair higher, but it's a virtual certainty. This is the moment where it's going to catastrophically break down, and you can see the price of Bitcoin go up, and I fully anticipate that will be the case. But the fun part is all of the altcoins breaking out. Dominance for alts will increase, including XRP. I think XRP will continue to be the darling of this cycle and outperform either literally every other coin in the top 100 or damn near it. Here's a post from chart analyst CW, and this is from this morning. He says XRP needs to liquidate its high leverage short positions, which currently exist until $3.45. However, there are also large amount of high leverage long positions around $3.20. After liquidating that long positions, the price is likely to rise. Okay, so I already told you price of XRP $3.20. It did break below that though. It was at $3.16. So all them people playing with leverage, they got bit. They got liquidated. Maybe don't play with fire. Just a little friendly suggestion. I mean, you do you, girl. I'm just saying I ain't gonna touch that stuff. If the thousands of percentage point gains that you can get in crypto by just holding and doing nothing over a sufficient time period aren't enough for you, you have a freaking problem. If you feel like you need to juice that, seek help from some professional in some sort of field, because that is not reasonable. That is not normal good behavior. I mean, it's normal, but not in a good way. Like, it's normal because there are a lot of people that do that. It's very bad behavior. That is not going. That's how you get bit. Here's a post from chart analyst CW. It's another one. He says XRP bull flag pattern. So he's very optimistic this thing's about to break out here, which is why I said, even though we're slightly down at the moment, don't expect us to stay down here for long, folks. We're not going to. We're not going to. We're going to rip to the upside. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom. XRP update. The pump fizzled shortly after, which isn't surprising considering it does this every single time XRP pumps off news. A fast, quick move like that creates an inefficiency, which prices later just fills. As long as $3.12 is being held, I consider it forward progress. Flipping $3.33 to support would be the trigger for an all-time high, in my opinion. And so, no danger here right now. He's acknowledging what I just said a second ago, which is that lower price for XRP, which we're experiencing at the time I'm recording this, not a problem. We are still safely over $3. This thing is not done, my friends. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptos. It says XRP holding above mega multi-year level, close above on Sunday would send us flying into new all-time highs. And he's targeting here $3.32. Now, that is almost the same as what Dom said at $3.33. He's saying flip that into support. And there are a number of analysts that are citing roughly that level. Now, again, so now at the time I'm recording, this is 2:28 p.m. Central. So we've got what? About 4.5 hours until close. Closes 7 p.m. Central time. That's kind of a big ask. I mean, stuff can happen fast in crypto. I know that. I'm not saying it's impossible. But is XRP really in the next 4.5 hours going to be above $3.32 or $3.33? Again, stuff happens fast. It's Sunday. Sometimes there are Sunday pumps. I don't really trust them typically. I'm not counting on that, but even if we don't hit that today, it's just not the end of the world. Nobody thinks that's the end of the world, but it would be nice. Weekly close at that level, yeah, that would be real nice, Clark. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender. Hi all, XRP is about to complete the ABC wave. We set ABC wave in July after $3.66. An expected $2.85. We hit wave A as expected. Our structure was below, and this is from August 7th. We hit the B wave top at $3.33. So there's that level cited yet again, $3.33. And these are just a few examples. There are tons of analysts that keep talking about that. Then he says, we still keep the structure where XRP is on C wave, and then the expected surge will follow. Now, what is the expected surge? Well, he talks about it in every other post that he's ever created, which is not a critique, just observing that. $5.85 in the short term. He talks about that all the time. He's been insistent upon it, and I will not be surprised if he ends up being proven correct. That's not exactly a big ask, in my humble opinion. Here's a post from chart analyst Steph is Crypto. He says XRP to $5 is imminent, and so he's clearly maintaining the optimism here, even in the short term, and I'm seeing that from tons of analysts. Here's a post from chart analyst More Crypto Online, who I'm not particularly familiar with, but it's another analyst saying a very similar thing. XRP, after a break above $3.40, I'm going to watch the $5 range as first key decision zone. So again, that's something where in the short term you can see that type of price action. And there's going to be a lot of areas where there's thin air above. There just aren't a lot of sell walls, and you will see massive jumps in short order. That is normal in crypto. It's going to happen. Here's a post from chart analyst Zoom, and he says 5-wave downward structure complete. XRP low time frame $3.80 to $4 incoming. And so there's another analyst with extreme optimism in the short term, and it makes sense. Here's a post from chart analyst Ali Martinez. It says XRP targets $11 after breaking out of a bullish flag on the weekly chart. And again, like I said at the outset, I'll not be surprised if XRP indeed does hit double-digit price action. And here's a post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. Now, this one's optimistic. You love to see it. He says, the chart is speaking volumes. This is XRP, of course. And a 777% surge is all we need to ignite this journey. What we're witnessing now is just the beginning of something much bigger. And you can see what he's targeting up here. $28 for XRP. So I don't know if we're going to hit that. It ain't crazy, though, folks. If that happens, I'll not be surprised. I really won't. It's really not a big ask, especially if analysts like TechDev are correct and this is going to be more like 2017 and nobody's sufficiently prepared. Then I'm telling you, $28 is not a big ask if that's correct. So we'll find out together. But if you're not optimistic right now, what is your actual malfunction? That's my question. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.